SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
Toyota Brookhaven services all makes and models. That could be why we were voted best service department the past 2 years. Come see why. Exit 40 Brookhaven or online at ToyotaBrookhaven.com. Great service, great savings. At Toyota Brookhaven, we deliver.
A SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
Discover Covington County Hospital's Swing Bed Program, offering comprehensive care for patients transitioning from acute hospital care to home. With a focus on rehabilitation, we ensure a smooth journey back to your home environment. Choose Covington County Hospital, where your health care matters.
And now, Sports.
Get ready, sports fans. It's time for Chasing Foul Balls on SuperTalk Pike County 93.5 and streaming worldwide on the SuperTalk Mississippi app and on your Amazon Alexa devices. Chasing Foul Balls, your weekly source for all the sports news and interviews important to Southwest Mississippi. Chasing Foul Balls is presented by Rainbow Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Macomb and by First Bank. And now, here's your host, Robbie Hamilton.
Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Chasing Foul Balls, Friday morning edition right here on SuperTalk Pike County 93.5. With me this morning, Richard Hay. TP, how are you, sir?
Always fine, Robbie.
And our official fill-in, little daddy himself, Wes Nunnery. How are you, Wes?
Doing great, Robbie. Glad y'all got to see me this morning.
Me too. I'm glad I got to see anybody, come to think of it.
Glad to be seen, as they say.
Yeah, instead of be viewed.
Right.
Mike Detiller, one of our favorite people, the guy that knows it all about the Saints and the LSU Tigers, will join us. And also, we'll have a chance this morning to visit with the new sports editor of the Macomb Enterprise Journal, Parker Gillem. And it's time to get going, so let's start, guys. First of all, it's the first year eligible for the Hall of Fame for Drew Brees. Will he be a first ballot Hall of Famer?
No doubt.
I don't think there's any question, Robbie.
I hope so. Let me put it that way. I just don't.
Well, yeah, you're right.
I don't trust the voters as much as y'all do.
Well, as many records and all as he holds, if he's not, then there's something seriously flawed. I'll put it that way.
I think if he had not ever won a Super Bowl, that would be they'd hold that over his head for some period of time. But he kind of knocked that one off. So I think he's there.
This we missed last week. I want to make sure I got back to it this week. Kyle Kelly has bought the Pike County Speedway and is going to reopen it. That'll be pretty good for Pike County, won't it?
Oh, gosh.
Brings a lot of folks this way.
I remember back in the, 10, 15 years ago, I remember when they'd have the Outlaws.
World of Outlaws.
World of Outlaws. I mean, it was crazy in Macomb. And it was wild. And then on just every Saturday night racing, me and your dad went down there several times. I think we did a show from down there one time.
Don't remind me of that. If it's anything I tried to kind of take away, it was that night.
It was pretty wild, but yeah, it'll be a great addition for our part of the world because it's a great track.
Unfortunate news, Ryan Sandberg, 66-year-old, passed away. So we've lost quite a few folks this last week and a half, haven't we?
Yeah, it was a pretty rough week for I guess, celebrities, however way you want to classify them. But, my gosh, in the mid-'80s when cable TV was just coming about, and, man, we were watching, we didn't have anything else to watch but the Cubs and the Braves, and neither one of them were very good at that time. But at least we had Ryan Sandberg with the Cubs, and everybody has said since passing that, he was a great player, but he was just a better person and a great teammate. So,
look, Daddy, you big into baseball at college level. Exit velocity. Did you see this? The college bats averaged 82.3 miles an hour in 2022. In 2025, it's up to 86.1 miles an hour. And the average 90th percent is 96.5 in 2022, up to 101.6 in 2025. Is something going to have to be done to bring the bats back in order?
Robbie, I don't know if something necessarily has to be done. I mean, this is along the same lines as the average speed of fastball going up. These kids coming out of high school these days have a lot better training, are a lot more developed. I think they can probably handle more than we give them credit for. I'm not sure nothing necessarily has to be done, but it is an interesting statistic for sure.
Well, Robbie, as Wes said, I mean, you got high schoolers throwing mid-90s now. I mean, golly, we didn't even think about that 10 or 15 years ago. But all it's going to take is somebody, unfortunately, and they'll keep saying, all the statistics and analytics say this, but sooner or later, somebody's not going to get their glove up quick enough, and it ain't going to be pretty. Now, several years ago, it was the ball. They made the ball where it didn't have any bounce to it, and we remember the bomb bats from years ago. I think now it's just physicality, and the ball's going faster, and they're swinging harder. And I'm not a physicist by any stretch of the imagination, but that tells me it's going to get there quick, and I think they will do something. But we start tweaking with the game, that takes away from some of the excitement.
I think it's safe to say, though, that they're not going to go back as far the other way as they did, because we know, as we always say, we know what talks and we know what walks, and Chicks home runs and hard hits sell tickets.
That's right.
Today's Elijah Martin today in Summit. They'll have a parade downtown Summit. It'll start at 5 o'clock. Then they have a meet and greet at the church after that. Elijah Martin back in town, been in town all week.
Well,
good for the Pike County area having Elijah Martin back home.
Oh, what? Anytime that somebody from our little area gets the national recognition, and I watched all the NCAA tournament, and he was front and forth center of the team in Florida winning, and then to get drafted and to bring that kind of notice to our areas is always a plus, and so it's really good to see him back home.
Well, I tell you what, we talk about the time and the date, August 1st today. That means by the time we end this month, everything's playing football. High school, junior college, and the Saints. Are you ready for football?
Can't wait.
Did you watch the game last night?
I did.
No.
If you can call it a game.
Did y'all watch the game?
I had it on. I don't know that I watched it. I had it on, but
that's officially, I must say, I must be getting old. I knew it was old, but I was fool enough to watch the Braves. So, that kind of tells you what.
Well, I was watching them too, so.
Did you see that they Saints in it? 3-all. We scored 8 runs in the top of the 8th. We're ahead 11-3 the Braves. I said, golly, what's wrong? First 8 batters, not 8 total, the first 8 batters for Cincinnati score in the bottom of the 8th and tied up 11-11.
I think I heard him say that's the first time in the 8th inning that both teams scored 8 runs in the Major League history. You think about, Don Zimmer said it. Watch baseball every day. You'll hear or see something that you ain't never heard before, and that was it last night. It was wild.
Doc Watson's going to tell me to quit watching the Braves. It's kind of getting my blood pressure a little bit on the wrong side. Not winning many games, that's for sure. We talk about money in football, and you wonder about folks leaving early from high school or leaving early from college and all that. I saw this one. It said that the top 5 NIL valued players this year: Arch Manning, $6.8 million as a junior in college. Carson Beck, $4.3 million. Garrett Nussmeier, $3.8 million. They don't have to be in a real big hurry, do they, necessarily, to get to the pros to get the big money nowadays?
Big money in the pros. Shoot, they're going to have to take a pay cut on that rookie contract when they go to the pros. Why would they want to come out early?
I agree. I thought the same thing when I saw that list, Robbie, is if you wanted to work, nobody's leaving early now. Everybody used to want to declare early so they could get that big contract, that rookie deal, if they were projected to be a high enough draft choice. Some of these guys, I don't know. I know where Arch Manning and Nussmeier, Carson Beck, but he's getting paid almost $5 million to be a quarterback in college. I'm like you, Wes. I'd ask for every year, graduate level. I'd even work on my PhD if they'd let me play.
Would Beck even be projected to be a first rounder? I would doubt it.
I wouldn't think so, no. Yeah. But that's being in the right place at the right time and getting your name talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Final question before we go to Mike Detiller. Favorite barbecue joint?
Oh, man. Oh, Lord. I'll have to say currently is Martin's Barbecue Joint in Nashville. I've had that a few times, and that is really fine stuff.
Richard, what's your favorite barbecue joint?
Well, there's two places. One of them I have eaten at personally or several times. That's the Salt Lick outside of Austin, Texas. It is absolutely, don't go there if you're not extremely hungry. And the other, I've had some barbecue from it, but I've never stood in line at 6 o'clock in the morning for Franklin's in Austin. They tell me how good it is. I've eaten some, and I say, okay, but I wouldn't stand in line at 5 o'clock to 11 o'clock to get some. But anyway, Salt Lick is really good.
Of course, you can find different lists at different places, but this was in the top 5 in Mississippi. How many of y'all have ate at these places? Two Brothers in Starkville's 1. The Shed at Ocean Springs is 2. Abe's in Clarksdale is 3. Memphis Barbecue at Horn Lake is 4. And the Pig and Pine in Jackson is 5.
I think I've probably eaten at the Shed, but beyond that, I don't think I've eaten at any of those.
I've eaten at the one in Starkville, and I don't think I've eaten at a barbecue place in Memphis, but that wasn't in Memphis, right?
That's what is it? I can't remember the name of that one. That's the one everybody goes to up there.
There used to be a real good one in Memphis. I can't remember the name.
I'm sure everybody's yelling at the radio telling us what it is, but I can't hear them right now. So.
Right.
Well, I have to say I hit 3 out of 5, but I'm kind of like Hill Denson. I'll drive an hour out of my way to find a good barbecue joint. I've had the Shed, I've been to Abe's, and I've been to Memphis Barbecue in Horn Lake, which is one of the better places that I've been, I think. Folks, let's get educated on the Saints and on LSU and a guy that can do it, and will join us on the phone next. That's Mike Detiller right here on Chasing Foul Balls Friday morning edition. It's on SuperTalk. Well, welcome back. Chasing Foul Balls 93.5. Okay, right? Can't believe I can't even get the number right this morning. SuperTalk Clay County 93.5. Baseball draft. Well, that's one thing before we go to Mike Detiller. They say D1 makes up 55% of the draft. High school makes up 30% of the draft. D2 and 3 make up 16% of the draft. JUCO makes up 5%, and all the others, NAIA and that type of stuff, 2%. You surprised at how that breaks out to the fact that the D1 makes up a little over half the draft?
Not surprised at all, Robbie. Good high-end Division I baseball, I would say, is probably comparable to Double-A or so, wouldn't you say, Richard? So
it'd be between high A and Double-A because it's high-end college baseball, as we know, is it's fun to watch.
And it's free development for the MLB for a couple of years, so it makes sense.
And now with the NIL thing, they can stay an extra year, as we just talked about in football, and get a little extra money. If maybe they need to improve their draft stuff. Used to, they took anything that was offered just to get a chance. Now they can make a little money and get better, and maybe improve their draft stock.
Well, let's go to the editor-publisher of the NFL Draft Report, Mr. Mike Detiller. Mike, how are you?
I'm doing just fine, thank you.
One question right off. Where in the world is Matthews, Louisiana?
I'm about probably 10 minutes south of Thibodeau.
10 minutes?
On the bayou, yeah.
You have your own boat?
Say again?
You have your own boat?
You broke up. I didn't hear.
I'm sorry. Let's go talk about the Saints first of all. It's a quarterback at the Saints. Is it Rattler this year, or is it Rattler until Shook can learn the NFL system?
I think it's Rattler early. And then I think you'll go to Tyler Shuck. I really believe that, the experience that Rattler had last year has benefited him. He's looked the best of the three quarterbacks at camp so far. And so I think Rattler will start the season. But somewhere there comes a point where Shuck gets the baton in his hand.
Mike, this is Wes Nunnery here. The quarterbacks are getting all the headlines, and rightfully so. But maybe an overshadowed storyline is the move of Trevor Penning inside the guard. That if that clicks, that could be very impactful. What do you? I know it's early, but what are you hearing out of camp? Is he taking to that move, and how are things going with that transition?
Well, it's his last chance. The very last one for him here with the Saints. He's played left tackle, right tackle. Now they kicked him in to left guard. So he's looked okay, but again, this is pajamas and slippers. It's not a real game. So we'll see with him. I think it probably fits him better inside at guard, to be honest. But, to tell you if it's the perfect fit, I'm really not sure. It's been a disappointment with Trevor Penning. There's no way to work around that.
Well, Mike, this is Richard Hay, and you talked about the quarterback situation, and we know what last year was with the offensive line. How's our draft choice, our number one draft choice, Kelvin Banks? They put him at left tackle, and I heard a couple of practices where he was having to go up against Cam Jordan, and he held his own. So what are your thoughts on where he is at in camp right now?
From just seeing what he is as a player, I've been impressed with him as a pass protector. Now, I can't tell you what he's going to be like as a run blocker. Again, you haven't played any games or any sort of thing in that extent. So, but he looks the part. He's smart. He's a good technician. I know, and this was right after the draft. We had Archie Manning on. And so Archie told me this before we got on, but that he was talking to Lil Arch. And Lil Arch made the comment that he thought Kelvin Banks was the best player on the Texas football team last year. And so that says a lot about it. He's a very mature guy. And so my thing about left tackles is this. On obvious third down plays, can you block your guy one-on-one? That's the test for any left tackle. Can you block that defender one-on-one without any help? And so, practice sessions, I like his setup, his technical skills. He does bend well at the knees, sink his hips. But let's see in a game. But here's the crazy thing. The left side of the Saints line will be a rookie left tackle and Trevor Penning, who's never played left guard before. So if you're playing quarterback, you better get rid of the football and quick. That's the way I look at it.
It'll make you have a quick release, won't it, Mike?
Well, if you don't have one, you better get one.
Let me ask you this. Saints fans are always optimistic, but how have they taken to the new head coach?
Yeah, I think there's some optimism that they got the coach part right. I think most fans understand this is a rebuilding year. But I think they like what they see in Kellen Moore. He's not one for a lot of words. He came on with us last week. And, he's a good interview, but he's sharp with words. And so you can understand with his background, his youth, his ability to relate to young players. But I think there's some optimism there with Kellen Moore. The realism is he doesn't have enough guys.
Mike, this is Richard Hay again. Let's flip the side and talk about the loss of or the retirement of Tyrann Mathieu and what it means to the overall. I know we got some aging veterans, Demario Davis and Cam Jordan, but what do we when we lose a veteran like that kind of plays center field back there directing traffic? What does that say for the team, and who's going to replace him?
You know, I always would tell this to Tyrann that he's on my Mount Rushmore of LSU. Yeah, I've done this 40 years. You know, Joe Burrow and Jaden Daniels certainly on that Mount Rushmore, but Tyrann is too. And, man, he was just a great college player, terrific NFL player. So much respect from everybody in that locker room. He was a leader. But you could tell, you know, Father Time catches up with everybody in any profession. Now, I got some people, you know, that'll text me or call me and say, well, you know, I'm still working at 73 years old. I'm as good as I've ever been. My thing is, okay. If you want to believe that, that's great. But, you know, that it catches up to you in the sport world. And you could tell it with Tyrann. He wasn't a really good open field tackler anymore. He can still play the pass extremely well. And so you lose that part of his, there's a certain thing in him, instinctive. He knew where to be to make a play. And, man, if you walk up to him on the street and you didn't know he was Tyrann Mathieu, you would never know he's a football player. Okay, he's 5'8.5", probably 185 pounds at the most. And yet he got every bit of talent out of that. And so you miss his leadership. I will say this. They picked up Julian Blackman from the Colts. And Julian looks like a really good football player. The problem with Blackman in the past has been health. He had a knee injury in college, Achilles injury with the Colts. Last year, he tore his labrum game 1. Played 16 games. Who's to show he's a tough dude? Now, when you watched him, tackling was a challenge for him, to be honest. But I think with that, Tyrann came to just, you know, that look in the mirror moment and knew he couldn't do it anymore like he once did. But you lose that leadership, that ability to find the football in flight. There was not too many guys that could be in his zip code.
Mike, LSU is picked as 4th in the SEC. Is that acceptable to LSU fans?
I don't know if it's acceptable, but I think that there's some realization here. That I think there's 4 teams in the SEC you can look at and say, hey, they're all real close. Texas, Georgia, Alabama, LSU. Now, opening that season against Clemson's tough. I think Clemson could play for the national championship. They got a star quarterback in Clay Cubblick. You know, watching him at the Manning Passing Academy, and Nicholls State is only maybe 15 minutes from my home, so you get to see it each and every year. But man, he's a playmaker. They got 2 first-round pick defensive linemen, a really good cover corner. So, man, opening that season, you don't finish September without having to play Florida and Ole Miss. Ole Miss used to be, you know, the late in October, Halloween week. Not anymore. So it's going to be an interesting season for LSU. I think there's more talent defensively here today than they've had in the Brian Kelly time frame. How quickly that comes together. And they lost 4 of their 5 starting offensive linemen. They have not had 4 offensive linemen picked in one draft since 1943. And I wasn't covering that team back then.
You sure?
So, man, there's a lot of stuff going on in the trenches. But, boy, you got a guy like Nussmeier at quarterback. Caden Durham is a terrific running back. They're about 8 deep at wide receiver. They got talent at wide receiver and tight end. But can you win up front? That's going to be the big question. Does this team win enough to get into that, top 12? That's what LSU fans want. They want to get into the big dance.
Are you on the Nuss bus?
I'm a big Garrett Nussmeier fan. He's not Joe Burrow. He's not Jaden Daniels. But, man, he can play. He's a gunslinger. That ball comes out of his arm real quick. He's a guy last year, and we got to talk to him at Manning Camp quite a bit about this, about him running the ball. He had some opportunities, and he didn't take it. And he knew it. He said it. I should have done more with that. But, man, he's a hell of a player. He's a great leader, real smart young man. And they didn't have a big play threat until late in the year when Chris Hilton got healthy. And then you had one. Now you got Chris Hilton healthy. Darian Brown comes in from Kentucky, who's a really good football player. Nick Anderson from Oklahoma. As a freshman, he scored 10 touchdowns for Oklahoma. So, man, they've added some speed to the lineup at wide receiver. But I'm a big Garrett Nussmeier fan. Again, he's not Joe Burrow. He's not Jaden Daniels. But that dude can play.
Final question, Mike. New Orleans has always been known for having a sports leader as far as Buddy D or Jim Henderson or Hap Galati or people like that. Is there anybody in the New Orleans market now that's taking that spot?
I guess maybe I'd say maybe Bobby Hebert has. Bobby and I work together, and people listen to Bobby. Now, sometimes he says some crazy stuff on the air. But, man, we great get along together. And, it's an interesting question because, for so long, we had at one time Hap, Jim Henderson, and Buddy all on the air at one time. And now, that age has sort of passed. But I would say probably Bobby is the guy that's got that mantle.
You probably have to have real good ears to understand Bobby Hebert, though, don't you?
No. I understand him well. He grew up right down the road from me. So.
Listen, I would understand that now.
Yeah, I get it because people tell me that when Coach O was here, and then I was like, well, I understand him perfectly. So I grew up, he was right down the road from me. So we a year apart. So, but yeah, I get it. But man, Bobby got something to say. Put it to you this way: he don't keep it in the vault.
Mike, we appreciate you taking this time on Friday morning to be with us. We sure do appreciate you.
All right, guys. Y'all take care. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Mike. Mike Detiller, the editor-publisher of the NFL Draft Report, one of our favorite people that we've had on the air on Chasing Foul Balls. You can understand why he understands Bobby Hebert when you talk to him, can't you?
Well, he's got to have somebody on the show that can understand each other. It wouldn't be a conversation. Me and you'd struggle.
I tell you, when I'm listening to WWL when they both together, I'm sitting there saying, what in the world are they talking about?
Especially when they get fired up and get on the roll,
That's
especially
exactly
Bobby
right.
Hebert. Bobby got that voice that's kind of like mine. The more excited he gets, the louder and the higher it gets, and the more you can't figure out what he's
Cajun
saying.
Talk.
Yeah. Arthur Gillem, the sports editor of the Enterprise Journal, comes up next right here on Chasing Foul Balls on SuperTalk Pike County.
Sports. And now sports.
You're listening to Chasing Foul Balls on SuperTalk Pike County 93.5 and streaming everywhere on the SuperTalk Mississippi app. Chasing Foul Balls is presented by Rainbow Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Macomb and by First Bank and brought to you by East Macomb Body Shop and Guy's Pharmacy. Now back to Chasing Foul Balls on SuperTalk Pike County 93.5.
Glad to be back with you on this Friday morning. Our thanks to Mike Detiller for talking Saints and LSU with us. Now the sports editor of the Macomb Enterprise Journal, Mr. Parker Gillem with us. Parker, how are you?
Can't complain. Glad to be here. Appreciate y'all having me out.
Oh, glad to. Let's kind of catch us up real quick. You from Missouri. How'd you make it to Pike County?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so graduated. I grew up suburbs of Atlanta, went to University of Missouri for 4 years, graduated in May of 24, and then just mass applying to jobs, and Enterprise Journal is who reached back out and did some research into it. And it was kind of, I wanted to stay in either the Southeast or Midwest. And it was still, sports coverage that I enjoyed, a town that clearly was very passionate about sports as well. So it seemed like a good fit.
You had worked some for Saturday Down South, too, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I still do. I still just kind of freelance shifts during the football season, just kind of hourly stuff like that. But it's a lot of fun. It helps me keep up with kind of headlines and the happenings while I'm kind of engrossed down here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Parker, what do you go through with this time of the year? As Robbie made the comment, by the time we get to the end of this month, everybody will be playing football.
Yep.
How do you concise that down? Because, now we got a paper 2 times a week, and it's amazing. I can't get it all read. I liked it when it came every day or so.
Yeah.
So now we're going to talk about football, on your part of the paper twice a week.
Mm-hmm.
And how are you going to get all that done, and what's the planning you have to go through that?
Yeah, in terms of the preseason stuff, in terms of the preview itself, nothing's going to change. In terms of the makeup of that, it'll still come out kind of on a Saturday. But yeah, coverage in terms of, we've obviously wanted to shift more to doing more online, more social media, more podcasting, etc. So that's why I did all those preview episodes with the coaches to kind of do a little, hey, let's get us back into the season. And then now is the time of year where I've been to 4 different high schools this week. I'll go to 4 different ones next week and just kind of interview photos, write the stories, rinse and repeat. But honestly, for those interested, in terms of the in-season print coverage, we're not going to lose anything from the print pages. I worked it out. Everything should be able to fit on Wednesday. Everything should be able to fit on Saturday. The only thing you're missing is going to be the game stories from Friday night, which those are going to be pretty outdated by the time Wednesday rolls around anyway. So it's been an adjustment, but as we kind of shift more to online and everything, it's been good, and I'm trying to push more Twitter and stuff like that as well.
Are you more of a college sports fan or a pro sports fan?
I am. College sports has been my life. That has been my number one passion. I follow the NFL and NBA. I love those as well, but college is my number one for sure.
Football, your sport, or is it different?
It's different. Watching football and basketball are my top 2 easily. I dabble in some other sports, but playing, I was a big basketball player, big soccer player growing up. I was not, as you can see, my body frame was not built for football, so that was my deal.
Did you play soccer?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No.
Oh.
As I watched soccer from my kids growing up, it was just a whole bunch of a crowd chasing a little ball.
Yep, yeah, that's how it works out at that age.
And I think even at the higher level, it's still pretty much that. It's just a lot more sophisticated.
Yeah, I was about to say a little bit more tactical, but otherwise, it's everybody chasing one thing.
You've had the opportunity to interview the 2 folks that are really getting the sports news from my area now, that being Elijah Martin and Elena Johnson. Mm-hmm. What's your thoughts about those 2 folks?
Man, everything. Really for both of them, but starting with Elijah, just everything you hear overwhelmingly positive, and not just from what they did on the field or on the court. It really was how they carried themselves off the field. Just everybody's very proud to have them as representation of Pike County. When Elijah went up on stage and said, "Shout out Pike County," I think that was a moment that everybody felt in the community. So it's clear that the community is always on both of their minds. Alana, very similar, just her journey, and obviously the story about her going to the World Series way back when she was young, and then, her parents saving the sign from when she was there, and then bringing it back out. I just think that it's really special, and I think those 2 are athletes that really keep their communities in mind, no matter where they go. Elijah during the Florida basketball season made sure to remind all his teammates about, hey, never forget the small schools you came from, your communities. So I think that it speaks volumes about both of them.
You're a very young guy, So I assume that you've been a computer guy, no typewriter in sports?
Oof, no. Those still out there? I'd love to see one. I'd love to type on one just for fun to experience it.
He's making us feel bad. Anyway.
I think it'd be awesome. I'd be intrigued.
He looked at us and said, boy, them old folks don't know nothing, do they?
Man, I think they got them now where you don't even have to type, you just talk to them.
I was going to say, yeah, you can just, we're going to, a couple of years from now, we're just going to think it and it's going to appear on the screen.
That'll be dangerous.
Yeah.
What's your feelings of high school football that you starting to make the rounds here in Southwest Mississippi?
Man, I'm really excited. I'll start with a Pike County focus, I guess. The 4 Pike County teams, I genuinely believe, honestly, all have the potential to be better than they even were last year, I think. And you look at Parkland winning a state title, well, how do they do that? Well, they bring back a lot of talent, and I think that culture is really cultivating in that program to where it's a championship mentality. Macomb, very similar, made a deep playoff push. Their offense is just embarrassment of riches. It's incredible what they have. South Pike should be able to build off what they had last season as well, a breakthrough year. And then North Pike with the new head coach stepping in, a former Parkland offensive coordinator, Paul Anderson. He's going to spark that offense, and they've always had the talent in the body. So I think it's going to be a fun year for them. And then I think there's a lot of other teams in contention outside of Pike County.
As we sit here in the studio, we're on the campus of Southwest Mississippi Community College. Mm-hmm. How much exposure have you had to junior college football, and have you been told about the level of junior college football in this state? I mean, if you don't get out on Thursdays or Saturdays and watch people that have played at the Division I or will play in the NFL, talk about that and your journey towards that is being able to cover it also.
Yeah, I mean, that's what was interesting in moving. I mean, because, Georgia, where I grew up, didn't really have junior colleges like that. Missouri, I believe, had a handful, and, Kansas and Iowa are pretty big for that as well. But no other state is like Mississippi when it comes to junior college athletics, especially football. And I just think being engrossed in that has been really interesting. The MACCC is just such every team you look at. I mean, Southwest has had a lot of talent, and the fact that they've been kind of on the losing end speaks volumes to the teams that have been ahead of them. I mean, just the amount of talent, the coaching as well. I think Southwest current staff speaks to that, but also just across the league, it's high level coaching you're receiving at the junior college level here. So it's interesting. It's intense. I mean, it's guys. A lot of people call it some of the most cutthroat football there is, just because it's every single guy in the field is trying to prove themselves to make it to the next level. In high school, sometimes you don't have that. In college, sometimes you don't have that. In junior college, pretty much everybody's goal is to try to make it to a 4-year school and keep this football thing going. So it's really fun, and it creates for some dynamic games, that's for sure.
You talked about the football in Southwest Mississippi. There's a poll out done by High School Sports. It says the state divided into regions, and Southwest Mississippi was the lowest region of the 8 that they had, but they also forgot to tell you that it has the smallest schools that they have. So we're saying the high school wins. Macomb was 21st on the list in high school wins in Mississippi football with 1,079 games played, 603 wins. South Pike, number 30, 891 games played, 562 wins. And Brookhaven was number 40 on that list, 1,049 games played, 532 wins. For that, maybe not year to year, but over the last few years, Southwest Mississippi has really been able to show out as far as the way football's played.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would definitely agree. I think from Macomb, you've seen just the offenses they've been able to field and the guys they've been able to put at the D1 level. I think South Pike has really been building, and now they've got their program at a sustainable level, especially as they're moving up to 4A this year. I think they're really equipped to contend there. And Brookhaven, I've heard a lot. I mean, they're not necessarily in my coverage area, but I've heard a lot about, this being a pretty magical season for them. And I think that matchup with Macomb, I believe it's September 19th, that Friday, will be one to watch. I think that will be 2 contenders in their respective classifications. And I think the winner of that will feel really good about themselves throughout the rest of the year. So, yeah, I mean, it's something that, a lot of people think about South Mississippi, and I think I hear it from a lot of the kids around here mostly that, we don't get the exposure a lot of these other guys do, yet the talent and the physical bodies are still there. I mean, we see some imposing, physical presences out in these fields. Now it's just about getting the scouts down here and getting the word out.
Should be a good year for for Southwest Mississippi high school wide receivers. Mm-hmm. You got Park Lane's Davis Caruth, Macomb Sheldon Isaac, and Centerville Academy's John Austin Sterling, all in the claim adventures list as top 25 or so. That's built some pretty good stuff for the offense for teams around here.
Yeah. I think, Davis building off of, he's only a junior this year. Sheldon the same way. Both of them only juniors is incredible. And, they're both guys that they've been to plenty of D1 camps. Sheldon already has a couple SEC offers on the table. Davis is probably going to pick up recruiting this year. So I think it's going to be interesting. And in Centerville as well, looking to kind of bounce back from last season. I think that's a guy they can really focus on this year.
All right, Parker. When you're not in your world of sports, and whether it's your job or you're just a fan like we are, what do you do in your downtime? What do you like to get away and go do and just take a breath? You still go to a sporting event, or do you like to go and sit at the beach?
Yeah, as boring as it sounds, I am a sports guy through and through. So when it's college football basketball season, my weekends are pretty much spent, I'll cover my high school games, then I'm watching college sports. But outside of that, I still love, I'm right here on this campus, I love coming out here and playing disc golf. I'll go up to Brookhaven and play basketball. I've started boxing, I guess is another thing I've started down here, kind of through a story I did at the paper, which is cool. So mostly athletic stuff. Other than that, I'm boring. I like to read. There's some video games here and there, TV shows. It's nothing too crazy. I'm not too wild. I left college after having lived in fraternity house and then lived with 8 guys my senior year. I was like, I could be cool to have the small town vibe for just a little bit. Maybe not a long time, but at least for a bit, I think that would be all right. So that's what it is.
There's a couple country guys around this place that could take you on some Friday and Saturday night excursions that you would remember for a lifetime.
I have heard stories. I've certainly heard stories. That's for sure.
None of us was in any of those stories.
Of course not. Of course not. Never.
Yeah. You met Bill Hurst at Centerville yet?
Not in person. I'm actually getting out there 2 weeks from now. And yes, because last year when I went to their practice, he was unfortunately sick, so he wasn't there. And I do get to cover the ASC Centerville game. I am going to get to cover. So I'll get to go outside of Pike County for once to cover a game, which will be good. So I'm excited for that one, too.
Are you surprised, Richard, that Centerville has a wide receiver on the most outstanding list?
Yes. Is that a change or what?
Obviously,
I didn't know they had wide receivers back then.
Obviously, somebody
Sign of the times.
Plays. Somebody else calling the plays nowadays.
It is not Bill, huh?
No, not Bill Hurst.
I think it's Brian Stutzman now, offensive coordinator, yeah.
Who used to be at Park Lane for a while. Softball, kind of neat for you to have to reckon it's in the MAIS, it's fall softball. Yeah. In the public school, it's for spring softball. How is it having to cover softball so early?
Yeah, because I moved down here maybe a week ago this time last year, and so I was getting into football coverage, just getting kind of settled in, and then I start getting people saying, "Why aren't you covering Park Lane softball?" I'm like, "They're playing softball right now," and so I realized yes, private schools play in the fall. I know that now, so I was out at the season opener earlier this week for Park Lane, so I'm in it. But yeah, it's just kind of balancing it. Covering. I kind of try to go to a game a week and kind of balance that with getting my football stuff done, and then once football season rolls around, just kind of playing it by ear, what can I get out to, and then obviously playoffs are a big deal. So just kind of playing that, but it's also different for me because the area that I grew up, baseball, softball were fairly big, but I've never been around a place where those two sports are just emphasized as they are down here.
Hard to play them year round in the Missouri weather sometimes.
Also very true. I was going to say our college baseball program's success can speak to the fact that they don't play a lot of baseball in Missouri. So. Yeah, but so it's been interesting getting doctor. I'd never covered a baseball game before this past spring, so it was just it's been interesting to be able to kind of get that side of things and learn a bit more about the game.
Final question: do you have a favorite barbecue joint?
Oof, in town or just overall?
Anywhere.
I did. So here's what I'll say: I obviously in Missouri, I went to Kansas City a lot, and so I tried most of their major spots. I had a couple friends in town, so Joe's is in Kansas City. They do the best. There's different categories. You can go by best sauce, best sides, best barbecue. Joe's is the best barbecue. They do sandwiches. I will go ahead and say that locally, I think Vines really stacks up with pretty much every place I went to in KC. Vines is quality. I really like it.
Parker, thanks for coming by and joining us this morning. We'll sure have you back as football season gets underway and talk about what's going on.
Sounds good. I'll be
here.
Thank
you, sir. We appreciate it. Coming up, Big Daddy Reese right after this. Well, Looking for a bank that feels like home? First Bank is here for you. 14 locations across southern Mississippi. We're your local bank for checking, savings, loans, and more. Whether you're buying a home, starting a business, or just need everyday banking made easy, First Bank ready to help. Stop by your nearest branch or visit firstbankms.com today. First Bank, where customers and community matters most. Member FDIC. An equal housing lender. And also we thank Rainbow Dodge Jeep Ram, 101 Rainbow Way, for sponsoring Chasing Foul Balls. How are you, Big Daddy?
All right. How are you, Robbie?
I'm hanging in there. USM 5th in the West. Is that pretty good? Is that what you're looking for? Or is it?
Oh, I think so. I think after last year, anything other than the bottom would be okay. I think we got the challenge maybe be a little bit better than that, but as Coach Huff said, we should be at the bottom. So,
when you look at the way things are starting to move, a lot of talk seems to be about Southern Miss right now, especially with quarterback. And does that get you excited?
Oh yeah, and I think if you're really objective and listen to Huff and his plan, you can't be anything but excited about the future. I mean, he is probably the most organized person I've heard of in the football league, and he looks after all the little details, and I think that's important down the road.
Big Daddy, this is Richard. Before we got on the air, we were discussing football season and how it would, they'd all be playing by the end of the month. Did you partake in watching the football game last night, if you could call it that?
Yeah, me and little Daddy watched it together.
Y'all making me feel bad.
It wasn't much of a game, Robbie, if we're being honest. It wasn't much to it. I think I recognized the name of about 3 people that were on the field.
And that was on the first snap.
That's right.
Well, they were running back and forth and running into each other and throwing the football around. So, Reese, from the standpoint of Coach Huff coming in, we've talked about the offensive side all the time. It seems like quarterback and all this. Talk to us about the defensive side of the ball. Who are the coach? And what do we expect to see of the Eagles from the defensive side of the ball this year?
Well, they say offense sells tickets and defense wins ball games, but I think defensively we're going to be real strong at the corner and the safeties, linebacker. Probably the starting linebackers, the first team linebackers are going to be very good. We're a work in progress at the defensive line, which is always a concern for a defense. But I think he brought in some people, and a couple of he brought in late with the portals since spring training, and I think it's going to help out up there. I think I don't think we'll go back to the days of 6-3 ball games and stuff like that, but I think, if you can hold teams now under 20 points, you're probably going to win.
High school football playoffs, Reese. They got a poll out on high school playoff wins. Number 10 is a guy you know pretty well, Centerville Academy, made 40 appearances, 61 playoff wins. That's a pretty good number for a coach, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Bill Hurst, he's an icon and all that. And, he talked about the wide receiver down there, Sterling. I don't know if y'all realize that, but that's Bill's grandson.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
Yep, that's Bill's daughter's son. Well, I got that right. I know it's his grandson.
Hey, Reese, we were talking about that earlier, about what are the chances that Bill Hurst would have a wide receiver that'd be in the top pick, because remember when they
maybe because it's his grandson.
but the question is, will they throw the football to him?
Oh, yeah. No, Bill don't like to throw it much. Brian Stewson will, but Bill is one of those guys that says, 3 things can happen when you throw it, and 2 of them are really bad.
Big Daddy, big question. Favorite barbecue joint?
Well, a 3-time world champion barbecue joint, in my opinion, over the years was Letha's in Foxworth. And if it got any better than that, I don't know where he would be. But Letha's died, Miss Letha died, and most of her family have died off. And I don't even know if they're still operating. The last time attorney from Asbury had bought them, and it was trying to operate in Kettle, but I don't know if they're still open or not anymore. But on Letha's, you go there and get their beef ribs. And if you've never eaten beef ribs and you think you wouldn't want to like them, you should have eaten them at Letha's, because they were like eating steak.
Chasing Foul Balls, Friday edition, right here on Super Talk Pike County. See you next Friday morning.
A SuperTalk Mississippi media production. A SuperTalk Mississippi media production.